Welcome to For Those Who Can Hear. My name is Suten Aten, and I'm going to give a series of videos that will enable you to gain insight and have power, self-empowerment in the 21st century. As I spoke in the other videos, my purpose is to share with you 5 to 10 minutes of your time, because I know that it's a busy world, that you'll be able to get tidbits of information and knowledge that would help you deal with the anger, the anxiety, the suicidal tendencies, the violence that exists in this earth right now. And it is a purpose behind it because there's a transition. The ancient ones divided time as we know it into different segments. And now we're in the time that's called Kala Yuga, which means darkness. And there's always darkness before the light comes. And so when we deal with life and we deal with ourselves, then we're able to gain a certain type of knowledge. And the greatest knowledge that we can attain is self-knowledge. When we think of self-knowledge, we deal with understanding what it means to be human. So a lot of times I will be presenting metaphors and parables to you in relation to this knowledge and self-knowledge so you can grasp it quickly and you can use it in your everyday life. And that's what I emphasize, being able to use this knowledge in your everyday life. So I'm going to begin to tell you that self-knowledge is important. We have to know that we are composed as human beings with the physical, the emotional, the mental, and spiritual. Those are 4 different dimensions in our life. Simple. We tend to focus more and we associate and or identify who we are by the physical. And we're not just physical. As a matter of fact, we are spirits having a physical experience. And so in our everyday lives, when we're dealing with different things, we're dealing with the environment, we're dealing with the different news and the media and the music, the culture, the styles, we have to be able to separate ourselves and get into a particular type room mentally so that we can be able to look at what's happening to us in this life. Self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is a term and a concept that exists for thousands of years. In Kemet or Egypt, there was a term called know thyself. That is very powerful. Just that alone and understanding that is know thyself. So that's why I went into the 4 aspects of self: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And so when we realize and know that, then we know that we have to be able to feed these different parts of selves. We can imagine that they are different bodies, different containers. The physical body, container. The emotional body, container. The mental body, a container. The spiritual body, a container. Just like you got a glass of water that holds, or a container that holds content, we have a physical content, a mental content, a spiritual content, and an emotional content. Now, there's something about us that's very strange that needs to be known, and there are monuments and anthropological grouping of art and pieces that describe and let you know from thousands of years ago a concept of an idea. One of the most powerful monuments is the Sphinx. The Sphinx, as you know it and see it in Egypt, has a human top and a animal bottom, which means that we are human and we have a lower aspect, which is what we consider as being an animal, in that it needs direction. We need to have the animal self in order for us to function, in order for us to have the intestinal fortitude to do what we have to do, to be able to detect certain types of dangers, be able to deal with certain things in our life that takes a certain type of ferociousness to deal with what we have to deal with. But that has to be balanced. And I say that in relation to the physical aspects of ourselves is needed, because without the physical, then we are not able to deal and be in the physical realm, because we're spirits having a physical experience. So we have to know then that we have, well, for lack of better words, we'll say a lower aspect of ourselves that deals with emotions and feelings and desires. And all those things are good for what they're good for. But we have to know how to, just like it's a lower life form, we have to know how to tame it. Because if we don't know how to tame it, then we will take in a lot of the qualities of our environment. It's very important that we understand and know that consciously and unconsciously, our environment shapes and forms us. Self-knowledge. We have to understand what it means to be human. What it means to be human means that in actuality, we are our consciousness, and we have a mind, and we have a soul. When we connect to those ideas and entities, then we can go beyond the physical aspects of ourselves. And we won't identify what the physical aspects of ourselves as being who we are. It's just a portion of who we are, and it's a function. So we have to get to the basics, those four basics. The four basics: the physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental. All these things are integrated in our everyday lives. And when we connect to all of them, then we become what you call whole. If we are lacking in any type of way mentally, and we don't be able to take in knowledge emotionally, if we don't express a certain type of thankfulness and gratefulness, if physically our diet is a particular type of way, if spiritually we're not able to connect with other human beings, other life forms, then we will have what you call dis-ease. It's as simple as that. Dis-ease means a disconnection. So with self-knowledge again, we'll be able to deal with particular things that happen to us, things that we see that happen to us, because there's an element within us all that we are connected to each other. And so whether we know it or not, whatever happens to this individual, we feel it. Whatever happens to that individual, we feel it. So even though from a physical level, the illusion that we are separate from each other, that's an illusion. We are connected from a higher standpoint. In terms of who we are, we're more than this space that we're in called the body. There's other aspects of us that extends outside of the body. And that's what we'll be speaking about also. So with self-knowledge again, we're dealing with knowing the origins, and we know the history of who we are. We learn particular things because it's very important to have that self-knowledge to deal with other people. We know then that everyone has a story. And I talked about the other video about the physical aspects, which is me and your story, and your higher aspect, which deals with what we call the I. And the purpose is to connect the I with the me. The me is your story. The me is your pain. The me is the thing that you went through all through your life. The I is an aspect of yourself that can't be touched, that can't die. It lives forever. So that's what you want to have and be aware of. Awareness is the key when it comes to self-knowledge. Awareness, that's the first step. In order for me to go any further, then I have to connect with you and let you know awareness is the first step. To be aware of the I. If you don't hear anything else in this video, remember that I and remember the me. And as we go on, we're going to connect the I and the me so you will know how to have the ammunition that you will need in the 21st century. Hotep. In order to get in touch with me, because I'm also an astrologer, and I embark on astrology, and I'm going to mix that in with the communication in the videos, you can contact me, Suten Aten, at gmail.com. Suten Aten, SUTEN ATEN, at gmail.com. Hotel. God bless you.